And when you understand that, two things can happen, and I suggest they have happened. One, you can manipulate the genetic structure, the decoding process, what I call body-mind-computer, so that it will not access vast chunks of that information field, just like the computer system in China. And when, quite early on in this story, in the early 1990s, pretty much after it all began to start for me, one of the earliest things I came across was interbreeding between humans and non-humans, which are recorded in ancient accounts in virtually, if not every, culture in the world. They give them different names, but for the entities involved in the interbreeding, or the name of the group, it could be Chitahuri or Anunnaki or whatever. But it's the same thing. And the theme is of a genetic manipulation of the human form. And we see genetic manipulation from our perception of reality. What these manipulating entities see, the way I see it now, is it's like a biological computer, and you can program it and you can change how it decodes reality. And it's interesting that depending what scientists you talk to, they say that between 90 and 98% of human DNA is what they call junk DNA or non-coding DNA, because they don't know what it does. So it's the idea that you'll call it junk because we don't know what it does. I mean, the idea that 90 to 98% of human DNA has no purpose is ludicrous. The question is, what is its purpose? And what I find fascinating, because it really is the direction that I've been going for a long time now, is that some cutting-edge, open-minded scientists who have looked at this, they are coming up with the fact and discovering the fact that absolutely it has a purpose, this non-coding junk DNA, and also it has its own language, which is very different to the DNA we seem to know about, or think we know about. And what I'm suggesting in my newer books is that within non-coding DNA, a software program, as I would call it, has been put into the human genetics. And it is running human perception. If I put a software disk in a computer and I press the right buttons, then that computer's reality on the screen will be that software program. And when you think how human emotion is one of the greatest controllers, suppressors, and drivers of human behavior and perception, and then you realize that actually the way the body reacts to emotion of various kinds is not the body reacting to some external thing. The emotion is coming, human emotion as we perceive it and experience it, is coming from the body. And what I'm saying is it's coming from this software program within non-coding junk DNA. And if you are in body-mind, five-sense reality alone, then there is a very, very good chance that you go your entire life in this world without having a single original thought or emotional response that hasn't come from the software program. That's the scale of human control, and that's how deep the rabbit hole goes, and it's only as far as we are now. So we have the thoughts and we have the emotional responses, but where are they coming from? When you see people like Carl Jung, the famous Swiss psychiatrist, and others who talk about archetypes, they say that they can basically break down human personalities into 12 big archetypes and combinations of them. Some others too, but really major ones. Well, hold on a second. We live within all possibility, infinite possibility, and you can break down human personalities into not many archetypes and combinations of them. What's going on? You can't break infinite possibility down into a few archetypal personality types, but you can if it's a software program. You absolutely can then. And so that is running through human, the human system. And you know, if you go into a quiet state, and you can do this if you work at it, you can literally observe your own thoughts. You know, the chatter in the head never stops. You know, you go into a quiet space. What did I say? And we take that to be us. But you can go into these states of awareness where you literally just move back and observe your own thoughts, and you can listen to them, and you can observe them and going, it's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. What are you doing? But then the question comes, what's observing those thoughts? The real you. What are those thoughts? The software program. And what the system has done systematically is to get us to identify, confuse who we really are with the software personalities that we're given. And so, when you start to break out of the software dominance, and you move your point of observation beyond the program into the realms of true consciousness, then those who are still running the program thinking it's them, they're going to think you are insane or dangerous or ridiculous, because they literally cannot compute through the software what they're doing, what you're saying rather. And so this is what the awakening is that I was told about 22 years ago. It's breaking open the mind to move your point of observation from the software program into levels of our awareness that are beyond the software program. And at that point, you can see what the software program is actually there for us not to see, which is all the things that are going on around us that we don't connect, we don't think are possible, because the software program is telling us what to believe. And then it goes to the next level, because as these pieces in the puzzle started going into this direction, you have the software program running through the human body computer, if you like, which we take to be us. And that's incidentally why, you know, if you type data into a computer and then you press enter, you pretty much know, well, you bloody well know what that computer's going to do, because it's programmed to do it. In response to that data, press enter. Wherever you go in the world, and you watch people in different situations, i.e. the situation being the data on the computer, then you press enter, i.e. the response of people to that situation. All over the world, invariably, you will see people of different cultures and what have you react in the same way, usually through emotional responses in the same way. Why? We live in infinite possibility. There are infinite possibilities to react to that situation, but the same ones keep recurring. Why? The same reason. And so there's that, but there's also what I call the hack, which is that this force that is behind human suppression and behind the human, apparently human families that are behind the suppression in the world that we live in, has created a fake reality. It's hacked into the information construct of the universe, this part of it anyway. And it has created a fake reality which is being fed to us. I think the moon's involved in this. As I go into in the latest book, Remember Who You Are, Saturn is big time involved in this. And pennies started to drop when I was writing this latest book particularly, of why, as people have been pointing out for years, researchers, that Saturn symbolism is everywhere. When you look at it, courts, governments, secret societies, Saturn symbolism everywhere. So you say, why? Why is Saturn symbolism everywhere? And then you realize the impact of Saturn, and you start to realize why these secret societies and governments and everything, and society in general, the structure of it, the authorities of it, are obsessed with Saturn symbolism. And it's like we should be decoding a much wider range of information, i.e. decoding a much wider range of information into our experienced reality. But this hack, in conjunction with this genetic manipulation, has put us in a tiny, tiny frequency range, which people don't realize how tiny it is. The electromagnetic spectrum, according to mainstream science, is, some people say, about 0.005% of what exists in this universe in mass and matter. Some people say it's a bit more, but not much. Visible light, which is the only frequency range that we can decode into a reality we can see, is a fraction of the 0.005%. People think when they look out their eyes that they're seeing everything that exists in the space that they're observing. No. They're experiencing a tiny band of frequency, and all the rest of the universe and multiverses and infinity in general is all sharing the same space. Space is an illusion too, really, that I'm sitting in, and it's all existing in this space. But because this is programmed to only decode this narrow band of frequencies we call visible light, this is the only band that I can see. And thus, when people talk about the paranormal and all that stuff, and ghosts and things appearing and disappearing, well, they haven't appeared and disappeared. But if they enter our frequency range, we decode them. It appeared out of nowhere, and then it leaves our frequency range. We can't decode it anymore. It disappeared in front of my eyes. No, it didn't. You ceased to be able to decode it because it left the frequency range you can decode. So once you realize this, all this paranormal stuff becomes perfectly explainable.